By the end of this video, you will be talking to your very own voice agent. This video is for you if you want to get your voice agent up and running, or if you've been playing around with the platform and getting lost with all the settings and toggles. I'm going to give you the optimal settings that work in a clear and simple way. I want to make sure that you can get your agent at an 80% where it's good enough that you can be testing it and tweaking it.
That sounds interesting. We can definitely help with that. Do you have any specific features or functionalities in mind for the lead qualification process?
My name is Alejo. I've been an AI engineer for about 6 years, and I am the co-founder of a startup specialized in voice AI. We've been building these voice agents for a variety of businesses and guiding other people on how to build these for themselves. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the step-by-step of how to build a great voice agent. But if you really want to take this to the next level for your business or your clients, feel free to book a call with us on the first link below. Now, let's dive in. There are several platforms out there that you could use for building voice agents. For this tutorial, we're going to stick with VAPI because it's very easy to start out on. Voice agents are very versatile. You can have them answering calls from leads or clients, which is what we call inbound, or you can have your company making calls to leads or clients, which is what we call outbound. So let's get familiar with how these voice agents actually work. When a lead calls into your company, VAPI is going to have the voice agent talking with the lead. So the lead starts speaking, and we're going to transform that voice into text. That's what we call speech to text. The provider that we're going to use for that is called Deepgram, is one of the best out there. Then we're going to figure out what to say back to the user using a reasoning model. We're going to be using GPT-4o, which is fast and really good. Finally, we want to turn GPT-4o's response back into speech. That's what we call text to speech, and 11 Labs is the best platform that's out there for that. So we return that speech to VAPI, and VAPI has a natural, real-time conversation with your caller. 2024 is the first year where each of these components are good enough and fast enough to have a real-time phone conversation. That's why this opportunity is so large. This is the first time this is possible. So let's get an overview of the VAPI platform and build your agent. You're gonna go to vapi.ai. You're gonna see this landing page and you're gonna click on dashboard. For me, it's gonna log in automatically, but creating an account is very easy, just an email. These are some statistics of one of my accounts. This is gonna be blank for you. We're gonna click on platform and click on assistant. So we're gonna click on create assistant, and we're gonna start with a blank template, but there are some other options for templates that VAPI has already given out to try out. We're gonna call it agent 1. Create assistant. So this is what you're gonna see when you create your first assistant. Let's break down what you're seeing on the screen right now. Number 1 is cost. This is what the cost is gonna be per minute. Depending on the settings that I'm gonna show you next, this cost can go up or can go down. Also on how long your prompt is. And I'm going to show you how to build an optimal prompt in just a second. Next is latency. This just means how long does it take the voice agent to respond back to the user. We want this number to be lower so the conversation is faster and more natural. Next is the question that everybody asks, which is what model do I choose? This is the reasoning model. Most people are very familiar with ChatGPT, but there are different versions. We're going to be choosing GPT-4o because it's very fast, but it's also really good at reasoning and having a conversation. There are some other models that are better at reasoning, but are much slower, and it's harder to have that naturality in conversation. Great. The other two things that we're gonna look at from the screen is the first message and the system prompt. We're gonna keep this one very simple. We're just gonna say, hi, I'm Alejo's assistant. How can I help? And for the system prompt, this is what the agent is supposed to do while taking or making calls. A bad prompt structure can confuse your agents. A good prompt structure makes sure that your voice agent can answer the way you want it to, even in uncertain situations. So let's look at what a good prompt structure looks like. First, know that you're going to be able to download all of these resources in the links below. So let's dive into the prompt structure. A good structure is separated by sections. We're going to give the agent a role. Why is it here? For example, you're the AI voice receptionist for Alejo. And you can give it other details about our startup and what we do. Your task is going to be to answer my phone calls for me, or maybe it's make phone calls for me. Then another section is specifics. This is going to indicate to the voice agent how it should act, what it should answer, and how it should answer. So in this case, we have a list, so use the hyphen to indicate that this is a list. Stick to topics relevant to AI development. What else? Other specifics, we're gonna dive into this later. Then context. Hey, you are in a phone call with a prospect, with a client. And then steps. These are the steps that it will follow in the conversation. It'll greet the user, maybe take its details, etc. And immediately after, you're gonna give it an example conversation. So this is really where the magic happens. You're giving it some boundaries of what a good conversation is like. And maybe the user asks about something that's out of topic. That's why we specify here, stick to these topics or answer in this way. And finally, notes. Hey, keep your sentences short, appropriate for a phone conversation. Now let's look at what a full prompt looks like. We have tested several different ways of building a prompt, and this has been the most reliable. So this is what we're gonna start with for our first agent. We're gonna have that here. We wanna have you running this as fast as possible. So remember, you can download this prompt on the link below. I wanna make sure that you can get your agent at an 80% where it's good enough that you can be testing it and tweaking it. And there are some other buttons, other toggles here that you'll get familiar with later on. I'm gonna make a video deep diving into all of these, but for now, the defaults are really good and they work very reliably. So let's look at the rest of the components of VAPI. You have the transcriber. This is the speech to text. And I mentioned DeepGram is a really good model. They've been in the game for a really long time. For voice, we're gonna stick with 11 labs. There are several different providers, and you can choose the voice that you want in the voice library. Just click here and it'll show you every possible voice, and you can listen to voices until you find one that you like. Further below, you'll see other configurations, other buttons, other toggles. For now, we're gonna keep this as default. We're gonna deep dive into the details in a different video because these work. You don't really need to mess with these for now. Functions is where voice agents really shine. But for building your first voice agents, this is just gonna complicate it. So subscribe below and I'm gonna release another video where I'm gonna show you how to integrate your calendar or your CRM into your voice agents. And finally, for advanced settings, similar situation, except that for response delay, we're gonna push this to 1. So the agent doesn't start talking over you. You can see what happens when you leave it at 0.1. That's why I recommend having a 1-second delay. Everything else stays the same. So let's go back to the important part, which is the prompt. What are the instructions that the AI needs to follow? For role, in this case, I'm gonna say, you are the AI voice receptionist for Alejo. Alejo is the owner of a startup specialized in voice AI. You are in charge of taking calls from clients and leads interested in projects involving voice AI. For task, we're gonna say, you're in charge of answering the phone and answering any of the user's questions. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to build an appointment setter that connects to your CRM and your calendar and books calls with leads and clients. For now, we're just going to have it answering questions about our company. Then for specifics, we're going to give some standard directions. You may only ask one question at a time. Wait for a response after each question you ask. The context is going to be, you're now in a phone call with a lead. And the steps is going to be a numbered list. Number 1, greet the user. Number 2, ask for their name and why they're calling. 3, answer their questions about what we do. Great. And now I'm gonna give it an example conversation of what that would look like. One important caveat here is explaining what this Q is. So we're gonna say, Q are your questions and R are the user responses. We're gonna change the first message slightly to, hi, I'm Alejo's assistant. Who am I speaking with, and could you tell me about what you're looking for? We wait for the user to respond, and after, we just continue the conversation naturally. This is a very short conversation. Obviously, this can go really large. We've built some prompts with thousands and thousands of characters, but for now, we want to get this up and running for you. So we're just gonna say, great, what questions can I answer for you? You wait for the user response, and then you just answer any questions they have. Finally, we have some notes. We can say, keep your sentences short, appropriate for a phone conversation. And now you have your prompt. You can go up here and click on Talk with Agent to call it and test it out. But I'm gonna go to the final step, which is getting a phone number so you can actually call it. It's gonna ask you to add your card details, so you can go to billing and set up your card here. Great, so I just set up mine. You go to phone numbers. We're gonna click on by number. We're gonna choose an area code. And if you're outside of the US or Canada, you can set up a Tulio account, and I'm gonna show how to do that in a different video. You can set up a Tulio account and then import your number here. Just choose Tulio and set up your account details. And now we have our number. The last thing that we're gonna do is select an assistant to be this agent that we just created. And we can call this number just like we would call any other number and talk to our assistant. Let's try it out. I'm gonna put it on speaker. There you go.
Hi, I'm Alejo's assistant. Who am I speaking with, and could you tell me about what you're looking for?
Hi, this is Alejo. I'm actually looking for AI solutions, and I wanted to understand exactly what you guys do.
Hi, Alejo. We specialize in voice AI solutions. Can you tell me more about what specific needs or projects you have in mind?
Yeah, I'm actually in real estate, and I wanted to help my agents for my brokerage with automating their lead qualification.
That sounds interesting. We can definitely help with that. Do you have any specific features or functionalities in mind for the lead qualification process?
Cool. We're gonna pause it there because I think that you can see where this can go. What if we could set up an appointment with this lead calling? What if we could continue the conversation later on with a human, having all their initial questions answered and warming up the lead? That's what we're gonna step into next. In our next video, we're gonna create an appointment setter that can connect to your CRM, connect to your calendar, and set up appointments for you so you can get more sales. If you want to take this to the next level, if you have a project in mind, or if you really want to dive deeper, feel free to book a call with me in the first link below. I'm here to help. For now, make sure you get this up and running in your end, and write down in the comments any questions you have. I'm happy to answer. Have fun with your very own voice agent, and remember, never stop prompting.